Hello, I'm Police Commissioner William Dwyer. Welcome to another season of Police Journal. This program will give you an inside look at the Warren Police Department and highlight other issues that impact our community. I always welcome your comments and suggestions. Please feel free to email me at wdwyer@warrenpd.org. Thank you and enjoy the show. Again, welcome to Police Journal. Today we're going to be talking about drugs. We're going to be talking about marijuana. We're going to be talking about medical marijuana. We're going to be talking about the drug of choice, heroin, cocaine, crack cocaine. And with me today I have two experts. I have first of all the Executive Director of HIDTA, which stands for the High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area, Mr. Abe Azzam. Mr. Azzam, welcome to Police Journal. We appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah. And with the Executive Director is the Deputy Director of HIDTA, Craig Summers. Craig, welcome to Police Journal.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay. Let's start really with, I've known both you gentlemen for many years, and I know, Abe, your background a little bit. You started with the Detroit Police Department. You retired from the Drug Enforcement Agency, DEA, years ago, and you've been the Executive Director of HIDTA for many years, correct?
Yes, sir.
Anything to add to that as far as your background?
No, I actually have a very long law enforcement career. I've been very, very lucky. This is my 53rd year in law enforcement, and I'm very pleased.
Very good.
Thank God for
and,
that.
and how long have you been the Executive Director of HIDTA?
Since 1997. That's 13 years, working on 14 years. That's when the HIDTA program came to the state of Michigan.
Very good. And we're going to talk about what is HIDTA and what responsibilities you have as far as being in charge as far as the Executive Director of HIDTA. Also with me, as I indicated earlier, is the Deputy Director of HIDTA, Craig Summers. Craig and I go back many years. Craig actually retired from the Farmington Hills Police Department, so I've known the Deputy Director now for close to 25 years, right?
Yes, sir. In fact, started my law enforcement career with Farmington Hills in beginning of 1982. Obviously worked for you, Commissioner, for 23 years. Retired from Farmington Hills last July, and I'm honored to be with Director Azzam as the Deputy Director of the Michigan HIDTA.
Very good. And you retired as the Assistant Chief.
Yes, sir, I did.
And when you left, I know you were in charge of the Detective Bureau, and under your umbrella, your responsibilities, one of them was the Sonic Unit, the South Oakland Narcotics Intelligence Consortium.
Yes, sir.
And you worked undercover yourself, correct, with the NET Unit, Narcotic Enforcement Team in Oakland County?
Yes, in fact, I led one of the NET crews back in the mid-'80s, so I had most of my career in investigations.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Okay, well, let's get right into it,
Sure.
Mr. Azzam, as far as HIDTA. You know, people say HIDTA, High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area. What do you mean by that?
Well, that is a peculiar name, but in 1990, the Congress of the United States created what they called the High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Program. And since 1990, the initial HIDTAs were 5 of them, and they were along the Mexican-American border. But what they found out was that there was a need to provide a neutral environment for all the agencies that are active in law enforcement. And each agency has developed an expertise over the years where they do what they do quite well. And the idea was to bring them all together with their expertise to the benefit of all, to potentiate each's expertise. For example, the FBI has great expertise, DEA has expertise, the Warren Police Department has expertise. So what the HIDTA program was designed to do, provide that neutral environment so they could come together, identify their problems. We call it a threat assessment.
Okay.
Develop a strategy to address that problem, and then implement that strategy. Go out and do something about it. We also have in the HIDTA program a way to measure our outcomes. What was our success? What was our failure? Where do we have to create new and innovative methods to address specific problems?
Okay. Now you, first of all, you have a board of directors, and of course
Yes,
I've been on the board for a number of years, and maybe you could talk a little bit about who's on that board and who they represent. I think that would be beneficial to our viewing audience.
Sure, Commissioner. The HIDTA program is federally funded, but it's locally operated. The executive board of the Michigan HIDTA is the governing body, and we have 8 federal voting members, 8 state and local members. All the federal agencies that most of us are familiar with, the Marshal, the U.S. Attorney, DEA, FBI, IRS, ATF. And on this more interesting side is the state and local side. We have the state police, Detroit police, and we have a number of sheriffs that are involved with us. And they have representatives, sheriffs from the west side of Michigan and sheriffs from the east side of Michigan. They have representatives on our board. And in the state of Michigan, we have 630-some chiefs of police throughout our full state. Well, the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police has designated an Eastern Chiefs Rep and a Western Chiefs Rep.
Right.
They all meet on a regular basis. We meet at least 6 times a year to discuss the issues that are important to all of us, to look at our program, to identify areas where we need to go next year, and to deal with our daily day-to-day problems.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the federal funding, and then we'll get into the various task forces that are funded federally, and we'll turn it over to maybe the deputy director to talk about the various task forces. But before we do that on the task forces, the funding. I know that we just recently had a meeting as far as how these various concepts would be funded, and that's always something that's a very difficult thing to do because everybody's looking for a piece of the pie. I mean, it could be DEA, it could be the Detroit Police Department, the various concepts like the Macomb County concept or Oakland County or the state police. So we'll talk about that for a minute.
Well, the law itself indicates that we have to devote a minimum of 51% of HIDTA resources for state and local police agencies. So we have a steering group and a budget committee that meets annually to develop next year's budget, the 2011 budget. The steering group did their work. The subcommittee and the steering group in conjunction came together, refined their efforts, and produced a balanced budget. Now, I must tell you that HIDTA money is not general grant funding. It is specific grants that are applied as a value-added thing. For example, you may need overtime money for officers. You may need transportation or communications or some specialty thing. That's how HIDTA money is applied. Well, the budget for 2011 was developed, and of course, it has to be approved by the executive committee that I've described. So we met this week. The budget was presented, discussion occurred, and the budget is now approved locally. Now it's my job and my staff's job to refine it, put it in a proper format, submit it to the Congress of the United States through Washington for funding, which will occur later at the end of this year.
Very good.